Hi, it's Janet from the Sisterhood of Salaam Shalom. In today's video, I talk about ways you can organize your planning meetings to make the most of your time together. If you remember back to the first video in this series, our airline pilot had checklists of what to do before, during, and after her flight. So here are my checklists for you. Before your action planning meeting, you and your co-chair have 3 tasks. First, be clear about the outcomes you want to achieve. What's the purpose of the meeting? To generate ideas? Get status reports? Make a decision? Once you're clear about what you want to accomplish, you can set your priorities. What absolutely has to get done? Once you've figured that out, you've essentially written your agenda. But make sure to estimate how much time you'll need for each agenda item. And then remember, clarity of purpose is the #1 way to use your meeting time most effectively. Second, you've got some logistical decisions to make. Where and when will you meet? Who'll facilitate the meeting? And who's going to take notes? Finally, decide how you want to handle the start time. Some of us come from cultures where it's perfectly acceptable or even assumed that the start time is very flexible. Will you start on time even if one or more sister arrives late? Now, there's no right answer. It's just good to have thought about it ahead of time. During your planning meeting, it's great to start by thanking everyone for their time. And you may want to spend a few minutes getting spiritually centered and checking in. Then hand out your agenda. Remember, start out at the 40,000 feet. Make sure everyone's on board with the goal of the meeting. See if anyone has questions or wants to add anything. As you move through the agenda, you may find you need more time for an unforeseen issue. In that case, step back to examine the implications. Is addressing the issue critical to the meeting you've agreed upon? If not, even if it's a really compelling and interested topic, set it aside for another time. Again, it's the clarity of your intention that's important. Otherwise, you'll wind up running late or may not get to other critical decisions. If the issue is critical, well, you'll just need to adjust your agenda. Can you complete another item via email? Or perhaps a couple of people can figure it out after the meeting. Make a decision as a group of how you want to handle it. And it's up to the facilitator to make sure that the process moves according to the agenda, that everyone has a chance to share their perspective, every task is assigned, so you walk out of the meeting knowing what you need to do, and there's no question about it. Throughout the meeting, it's the charge of the note-taker to record all the decision and action items, as well as to summarize only the really important discussions. There's no novellas written here. Check out the written resources in the online library for this video, including a template for developing your agenda, a suggestion for how to record meeting minutes, and tips for running a meeting. So I want to end with a story. Several years ago, I spent a month working with a struggling nonprofit in Cape Town, South Africa. I brought my way of working with me. You know, focus on the agenda, start and end on time, have clear goals, only to find that many people in the group had very different ideas. Instead of structure, they told stories. They shared dreams. I heard about snakes and ancestors, and this was in a board meeting. We rarely started on time and almost never ended on time. You know, but they did ultimately make the decisions on the table, and I learned many valuable lessons about flexibility and different ways of working. So I share the story because, well, if this structure doesn't work for you, I'm confident that you can find one that does. But what I ask is that you're intentional and make sure that everyone is on the same page. You know what airport you're heading to, and I want you to reach your destination.